Speak language, this is country.
My friend, who is Vietnamese, gets told, speak English, you're in America, all the damn time. It got quite annoying to him, so he eventually decided to do something about it. He looked up the Native American tribe whose tribe was originally on the land where he lives, went to the tribe's cultural center, told the elderly grandma working there he was tired of being told to speak English in America, and had her teach him how to say, white person, outsider, non-native, in the language as well as some other curse words and whatnot. Apparently this made that Native American granny's week, because she went all out and really taught him quite a lot, and ever since any time some racist tells him to speak English in America he says, well, why don't you speak Native American tribe's language, wherein Native American tribe's lands, you damn Native American word for white person. The shocked Pikachu.jpg face he gets in response never gets old. They completely freeze up for a few seconds, BEF. Or responding in entertaining ways such as gasping for air or pointing their finger angrily or just turning and walking away lol. Eventually the word spread among my group of friends and quite a few of them who as immigrants, or even just people who speak a second language, occasionally also get told this are always chomping at the bit to get their chance to use this response. Every time some of them finally does they immediately announce it to everyone they know lol, and it really never gets old. Anyway, I didn't really know where to post this but felt it matched here well enough, hopefully, as it takes the racist's logic and returns it right back to them in a way that really rustles their jimmies. What ways have any of y'all flipped the script on racists?
Tell me to hide period products in order to not offend male coworkers. Consider it done.
Background: I work in a fast-paced healthcare environment where every minute counts, and I have both male and female coworkers on my shift. We have lockers with opaque doors where we're allowed to store our things. When I'm in the office area I leave mine unlocked for easy access, and I've started keeping a box of tampons in my locker. I've told my female coworkers if they're in a hurry and need a tampon they're welcome to just open my locker, when it's unlocked and I'm in the office, and take one, no problem. I got called into my boss's office the other day because a male coworker of mine complained that me keeping tampons in my locker was disgusting and he hated that he could see the box whenever my locker was opened. My boss, a male, told me that some men were really sensitive to this type of thing and that I should try hiding them in a different type of box so I wouldn't offend my coworkers. I asked what the point was because my coworkers would see someone reaching into a crackers/Pop-Tarts, etc. box and taking out a tampon instead of food anyway. My boss got all huffy and told me that it was for the best and I needed to do it. Well, fine. I made a cover for my tampon box that said Mother Earth's Bloody Nutrients bars, with extra gooey, nutritious filling, with a photo of a bloody bathtub, and placed it on the box. That was 2 days ago, and I saw the male coworker open my locker, trying to be sneaky, and he paled when he read the box, got all angry, and I received an email from my boss that my cover wasn't funny and that I need to take it down. So I emailed our HR person a copy of the email as well as a summary of what happened and photos of the lockers, the box, and the cover. I also suggested that the male coworker sit somewhere where he didn't have a direct line of sight to my locker if it really offended him so much. She thought it was freaking hilarious and said I followed my supervisor's instructions and so I was fine. Nothing else has been done yet, and I'm mostly angry that my time was spent on something as stupid as this and not on patient work. Edit: thank you so much for the support and the awards. I've documented everything and am encouraging my coworkers, male and female, to do the same. HR is now in the loop and they have told me they have had multiple people come forward saying similar things that they're doing some investigating. So hopefully things change. Edit 2, here is the link to the box. I spent maybe 3 minutes on it so it does not look good. Fair warning, smiley face, the box of.
Here is your 0.00% idle time.
I worked for a company that provides a utility truck, and one of the analytics they monitor is how long the truck stays in place with the motor on. The target number was something like 3%. I consistently was stuck in traffic due to my area being changed to the downtown area of my city and naturally raising my idle percent. My supervisor began constantly badgering me over the raise of my idle percent, about 10 to 12% higher now. After they decided to give me a written verbal warning, I became the most efficient truck no idler in our branch, and I brought it down to a 0.00 by shutting the truck off at every stop sign, red light, highway stopped in traffic, in drive-thrus, and instantly off when I got to where I was going. Now remember, this is a utility truck that is charging my 2 phones, laptop, tablet and my various equipment's rechargeable batteries, all this juice sucking and no alternator spinning, putting the power back into the truck battery, causing it to die. A lot. Now the rules. The company had made it forbidden for me to jump the truck myself, so I had to call the company and they sent out a tow truck to jump start it for me. I could do it myself anyway and probably would have, but they are writing people up out here for petty beep, and every time I call this tow truck it takes a minimum of 2 hours for it to show up. I began doing this multiple times a day, every day, until they figured my truck was broken. It goes to the shop, checks out, they give it back, I kill it again. They end up giving me an entirely new truck. I start killing it. I repeated this process until they gave me the 3rd truck, and the manager calls me to asks what my daily routine is. I go through the basics and add in the whole stop at red light, engine off, stop in traffic, engine off, etc. And dude goes, "Why the beep are you doing this? My supervisor wrote me up for my idle time being too high. This is completely ridiculous." He tossed my write up and I'm guessing talked to the soup because I never heard a word about idle time again and I quit caring about it. There's my dumb petty story. Thanks for reading. Edit. Made, work, past tense. I don't work for this beep hole anymore.
My boss wanted me to dress for him.
This was years ago, but it still makes me giggle. When I was 19, I got my first real office job. We weren't customer facing, so everyone dressed really casually. Jeans, tennis shoes, t-shirts. One day my boss called me in to talk to me about dress code. He said that he'd like his assistant to wear business attire like they do at the corporate office. I asked what that is and he said like little dresses with jackets. I felt icky, but I didn't fully understand why for years. That night my boyfriend, now my husband, took me to the store and I bought 5 outfits that exactly matched my boss's attire. Old man jeans, cotton button-up shirts and loafers. That's what I wore until I left the company. He couldn't say a damn thing and he never talked to me about dress code again. I now realize that it ruined his little fantasy and it makes me proud of my young self. Edit. Well, this has been quite a day for my first post ever. I'm so glad my son talked me into Reddit because I've had the liveliest conversations with so many people today. For an extrovert, this is a dream come true. I love all of you. I've seen some really beautiful thoughts here and it's really made me feel better about sharing the world today. Take care of each other, share your strengths and be as weird as you really are. And if I write a book, it will be called Malicious Compliance by FU Patience. Should you ever see it on a bookshelf, know it's dedicated to you.
He can't wait outside. Guess what? Now he's waiting inside.
One day at work for my lunch break I decided to run around the corner to McDonald's. The drive-thru was packed, so I decided to just go inside. There was a homeless fellow out front who wasn't asking for money, but some food. I could tell he was legitimately in a bad way, so I told him, "Yeah, no problem man, sit tight and I'll bring you a couple McDoubles." I ordered 2 for me and 2 for him, and as I'm waiting for our order to be called I noticed an employee had gone outside to pester him and tell him he can't be there and has to leave, etc. I go out and explain he's waiting for me, I was going to bring him some food. The worker adamantly stated that he cannot stand out front because it's bothering other customers. Well, I wasn't about to let them run him off because he's hungry and actually about to get some food. So, I decided instead of taking my food back to my office, I'd go ahead and eat in the restaurant, with my new friend as company. Like 2 minutes later our order is called, and while we ate we had a nice chat. He told me about why he's homeless and why he doesn't trust the shelters here, etc. After we finished eating we both left the restaurant and parted ways. Never saw him again, but he seemed like an alright guy. TLDR, bought a homeless guy lunch. The staff didn't want him waiting outside for it, so I brought him inside as my lunch guest.
You want to lose $100? Alright, sign here.
I work in accounting and my assistant is out on this particular day, so I'm working on invoicing. While doing invoicing, I come across a work order that has a higher expense amount than invoice amount. Realizing we will be losing $100 on the job instead of at least breaking even, I decide to question the project manager, Chad, about it. Me, hey, I noticed this job has an anomaly. Can you explain it to me? Chad, what are you talking about? Me, see the expenses. They reach a higher total than the amount you want me to bill for. I want to see if that was a mistake or Chad, no, it's right. Me, if that's right, we're going to lose money on this job. You won't get commission, and Chad, I'm telling you it's right. Chad then rips the papers from my hand. See, we charge a 20% markup right here. He points to the wrong spot and has the audacity to look smug. See, it's fine. Me, I calmly take the papers back and show him to two amounts side by side. I see that, but you didn't account for that. Oh. Veer here for the billing amount. The total billing amount is less than that. Chad, look, it's right and I don't have time to explain it to you. Just do it and stop bothering me. Me, no problem. Can you just initial here so when our boss asks me why this job is invoiced so low, I can Chad, sure, fine, whatever. Signs his name next the billing amount. Now get out of my space. I go back to my office and invoice the too low amount. I send it off, fully knowing this was going to backfire, and kept all backups and copies handy for when it did. Next Monday, I have the boss in my office. The invoice in question is in his hand. Boss, hey, you did this invoice wrong. Shows me the invoice. Me, actually, if you'll look at the backup, Chad told me that was the invoice amount. I show him where Chad signed off. Boss, I'll be right back. He left my office. Roughly an hour later, I get called into the boss's office. Chad is there, looking uncomfortable, and my boss is on the phone. He waved me inside a ND. I sat down. Boss, alright, we're all here. Now, Tandy, Angie, please explain this to me. Me, I noticed that the expenses on this invoice were higher than the billing amount. Chad told me that the numbers were fine, and to just do the invoice. Boss, here that Tex is the subcontractor we used on this job. Tex, yep. So what are we gonna do? Boss, only thing to do is fire them. They're either incompetent or cheating us. Either way, it's bad for business. I am now very concerned for my job, but I sit silently. I know I don't have the whole story yet. Tex, I reckon you're right. Good luck, and don't worry about the park job. I got an opening up tomorrow I can squeeze in. Boss, thanks Tex. He hangs up the phone and turns to Chad. Chad has gone from nervous to mad. Chad, it's not my fault she can't do her job. Boss, you signed your name right next to the wrong amount. Now you're either working with someone in accounting over in Tex's company to steal from me, or you're too stupid to work here. Which is it? Chad stands, as does my boss. I stood as well, not liking being the only person sitting. Chad says nothing. Boss, you're fired. Get your computer and leave. Boss turns to me. Go ahead and fill out the paperwork for his leave. Make sure to add that he attempted to embezzle money. I nod and leave. Chad stays there. As soon as I leave, the office explodes in screaming. I stayed in my office, doing the paperwork my boss asked me to fill out. I saw Chad leave later with his stuff thrown haphazardly into his bag. That was the last time I saw Chad. A friend saw him working at a cash register at a buffet place about a month later. Turns out, both my boss and Tex had agreed to lower their markups for the job, so the invoice number was still too high, not too low, but I didn't know that until after the fact when my boss had me redo the paperwork for the entire job. Someone from accounting in Tex's company had altered the invoice sent to Chad, and they were planning on splitting the difference after we paid the altered bill. TLDR, Chad attempts to embezzle money for the first time and doesn't pay close enough attention to his numbers, got caught and fired.
May your day be filled with joy and happiness. And please remember to like, share, and subscribe for more quality content every day.